There is one Bible verse that always confused me, and maybe this is a Bible verse that confuses you. I'm going to tell you why this was so confusing to me, and then I'm going to show you how this Bible verse actually makes perfect sense. So if we were to ask the question, what is the thing that people are seeking after most in this life? I would say that it is happiness. It is wanting to feel good. And how do people often experience this? I would say when they are celebrating something with others, when they are having a party or an event, maybe they're celebrating a milestone, maybe they're celebrating something that's happened in your life, or maybe you're celebrating something that's happening in their life. Now, what's the thing that people want to avoid as much as possible in this life? I would say that it is to feel bad or to feel sad. And when do people often experience these things? It's when things aren't going well for them. Maybe they've suffered a loss in their life. Maybe they've lost their job and things are difficult. Maybe it's the loss of a relationship or a breakdown of a marriage. Maybe it's even the loss of a loved one who's passed on from this life. And the last thing that you want to do is to go through that painful experience. Maybe you're sitting there at a funeral. Maybe it's even someone that's not saved and you're feeling incredibly hopeless about that. People want to avoid that type of feeling at all costs. Now, there are many churches out there that preach a message which is self-focused, that God wants to make you happy in a temporal sense. He wants to bless you. He wants to make things go well for you. But this Bible verse actually says something very different. And I'm going to read this out to you. So this is in Ecclesiastes when Solomon he's contemplating all the things of life, and he's contemplating the meaning of life and the purpose of life. And in chapter 7, verse 2, he actually says, "It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting." And I'm going to finish that verse off in a moment and tell you why. Now think about this. When you go to the house of feasting, you're having a great time, you're having fun, you're forgetting about your cares. Isn't that where you'd want to be? When you're going to the house of mourning, you're feeling a profound sadness. It's a situation you don't want to be in. So why is it better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting? Well, it says here, "For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart." So what this is saying is that when you go to the house of mourning, you come face to face with the reality that this life is going to come to an end. And you start to contemplate eternal things. When you're in the house of feasting, you can forget about these things. You can become distracted and be very comfortable in life, not recognizing that this life is passing by and that we can't put our hope in anything in this life. Oftentimes, the thing that is best for us, the thing that it is better to experience, is not the thing that we want. There's oftentimes something that we need that is far deeper than the thing that we want. And anything that brings us to that place where we're contemplating eternity, where we're contemplating, as it says in Hebrews 9:27, that it is appointed for man to die once and then comes a judgment. For the unbeliever, it's to contemplate the question of, where am I going when I die? And maybe to have an opportunity to hear the gospel message. For the believer, it's to contemplate the question of, well, what is my purpose while I'm here? How am I to live in light of eternity? And the more time that we spend focusing on how temporal this life is, the greater revelation we're going to have of how we're to live while we're here. So it might be great to be celebrating, to be feasting, having a good time, and God blesses us in that way too. We can appreciate that. But we can also appreciate those other experiences that we have when we are mourning and we're brought face to face with the temporal nature of this life, because it's going to remind us of eternity, which will last forever. I'm not sure if this verse has ever confused you before, but it makes perfect sense to me now. Would love to get your thoughts. Leave your comments below. Talk to you soon. God bless you, friends.